In the world of automotive design, there are vehicles that define eras and those that rewrite the script entirely. The 1939 Aston Martin Atom was one such vehicle. An experimental prototype born at a time when the world teetered on the edge of war, the Atom was not just a daring concept, it was a vision of the future. What makes this car extraordinary isn't simply its rarity or its pre-war pedigree. It's the way it forecasted post-war design, the way it challenged existing ideas of performance and comfort, and the way it influenced the path Aston Martin would follow in the years to come. At first glance, the Atom doesn't scream 1930s. Its streamlined, almost architectural bodywork feels decades ahead of its time. Where most pre-war cars still bore the hallmarks of carriages, tall rooflines, upright windshields, separate fenders, the Atom introduced a one-piece streamlined body, integrated fenders, and a wind-cheating shape that hinted at a different world. It was penned under the guidance of Claude Hill, a brilliant engineer who not only shaped the Atom's exterior but masterminded its internal architecture as well. Hill understood that the future of motoring would rely on efficiency, structural integrity, and aerodynamics. The Atom was his playground. It featured a steel space frame chassis, something utterly revolutionary for the period. Most cars of that era rode on ladder frames, which lacked stiffness and contributed to unwieldy handling. But the Atom space frame, light, rigid, and cleverly triangulated, provided a platform more in line with post-war race cars than luxury cruisers. This advanced frame would lay the foundation for what would become Aston Martin's racing success in the 1950s. Under the hood, the Atom was no less ambitious. Originally fitted with a 1.9-liter four-cylinder engine, it would later receive a 2.0-liter inline-four producing around 125 horsepower. This might not sound groundbreaking by modern standards, but in a lightweight chassis and in an era where 50 horsepower was the norm, the Atom was a rocket. More importantly, it had a 4-speed preselector gearbox, another advanced piece of kit for the time. This allowed the driver to select the next gear before engaging it via a foot pedal, a system used in some high-end vehicles and Grand Prix racers. The suspension was independent up front and semi-elliptical leaf springs in the rear. Again, this represented a step forward. Most contemporaries still used rigid axles front and rear. Independent front suspension allowed for sharper handling, better road compliance, and greater comfort, a trio of qualities that would eventually define Aston Martin's grand touring ethos. Step inside the cockpit, and you're greeted with a driver-focused interior that balances minimalism with a sense of occasion. There's no central infotainment screen. Everything is designed to keep your eyes on the road and your hands on the wheel. Carbon fiber, Alcantara, and exposed metal define the interior aesthetic. Lightweight racing seats hug you tight. Even the door panels are stripped down to reduce weight. This is a car that prioritizes the driving experience above all else. Ferrari didn't build the 812 Competizione to be a garage queen. It was engineered to be driven. To be pushed. To be experienced on a track. But it's not just a race car. It's a piece of automotive art that you can take on a mountain road. And that's what sets it apart. It offers both savage speed and a level of engagement that few modern cars can match. Now, let's talk about exclusivity. Ferrari limited production of the 812 Competizione coupe to just 999 units. Each one sold almost instantly. It wasn't just about the performance, buyers knew they were getting a piece of Ferrari history. A naturally aspirated V12, in an era increasingly dominated by turbochargers and electric motors. The end of an era, perhaps, but what a glorious end. The 812 Competizione wasn't alone. It was joined by its open-top sibling, the 812 Competizione A, or Aperta. That model took the same platform and added an extra dose of sky with a removable carbon fiber roof panel. A total of 599 Apertas were made, and like the coupe, they were spoken for long before the first car left Maranello. In terms of handling, the Competizione took the already agile 812 superfast and cranked everything up. The steering is hyper-responsive. The car feels light on its feet, especially considering it weighs just under 1,500 kilograms dry. With rear-wheel steering and the latest version of Ferrari's dynamic control systems, it dances through corners with poise. There's virtually no understeer, and the rear end is alive but predictable. It rewards skilled drivers and challenges them to extract the best from the chassis. Driving modes like wet, sport, race, and CT-off allow the driver to tailor the behavior to their liking. But even in the most aggressive settings, there's a confidence the car inspires. The carbon ceramic brakes are monstrously powerful, able to haul the car down from triple-digit speeds lap after lap with no fade. The grip is phenomenal, thanks to bespoke Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2R tires that stick like glue to the tarmac. But beyond all the numbers and tech, there's a purity to the 812 Competizione that makes it special. In an era where many performance cars rely on hybrid systems, dual-clutch torque tricks, or clever electronics to mask flaws, the Competizione remains refreshingly analog in its feel. Sure, it's packed with tech, but it doesn't feel filtered. The connection between driver and machine is immediate and intimate. The design language of the car is equally bold. It's aggressive, angular, and sculpted for performance. The reworked front fascia, the carbon fiber blade across the rear, the quad tailpipes, and the massive diffuser, they all serve a purpose. But they also give the car an unmistakable presence. It looks fast even when it's parked. Ferrari's engineers went through every component with a fine-tooth comb to save weight and improve response. The crankshaft is lighter. The con rods are titanium. Even the pistons were redesigned. And the 7-speed dual-clutch transmission? It shifts 5% faster than in the 812 Superfast. Downshifts are sharper. Upshifts come with a visceral punch. Everything feels more immediate. This car isn't just about going fast, it's about how it makes you feel. And few cars can stir the soul like this. The sound of the V12 as it bounces off canyon walls. The way the front end bites into corners. The symphony of mechanical motion, perfectly choreographed. Let's also address the elephant in the room, the future. The 812 Competizione might be the last naturally aspirated, non-hybrid V12 Ferrari ever built. As emissions regulations tighten and Ferrari moves toward hybridization and electrification, we may never see a car like this again. And that's why the Competizione matters. It's a swan song. A love letter to the golden age of internal combustion. For collectors, that means this car will only grow in significance over time. It's already a prized possession among those lucky enough to own one. And for the rest of us, it remains a dream, a symbol of what pure automotive passion looks and sounds like. It's not the fastest car Ferrari has ever made. That title goes to other models. But the 812 Competizione might be the most emotional. The most connected. The most thrilling. It's a car that makes you feel alive with every drive. And that's what supercars should do. So, if you're someone who values driving purity, mechanical brilliance, and emotional engagement above all else, the 2021 Ferrari 812 Competizione is your kind of machine. It doesn't just accelerate, it elevates. It doesn't just turn heads, it turns hearts. And while the automotive world charges forward toward electrification, cars like the 812 Competizione remind us of where we came from, and why we fell in love with driving in the first place.